Straight ahead on 12 News Weekend, a wedding ring mystery. A special wedding ring is found. The hard part is finding its rightful owner. Plus, calling it a career. You'll meet a retiring firefighter who is a rarity in her field. But first, it no longer functions as a water tower, but some believe it still serves a purpose.
It's an emotional icon, I think.
What it will take to preserve an Osseo landmark. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello, and thanks for joining us on 12 News Weekend. Well, if there's the perfect water cooler topic in Osseo, that would be the city's water tower.
The landmark structure turns 100 years old this summer, but it needs expensive repairs. Is it worth saving? We found a mother-daughter duo who believe it's worth the fight.
This is my home. I was born and raised here.
There's something about Osseo
Coming back, it was coming home, literally.
that drew Kathleen Getty back.
I moved back and bought the home that I grew up in.
The house hasn't changed too much,
It was the best decision I've ever made.
and Kathleen doesn't want the view out of her front window to change either.
That's why one of the reasons I'm so passionate about saving the tower, because it's a landmark, it's an icon.
Since 1915, the Osseo Water Tower has been a part of the city's skyline. Long after it stopped holding water, the siren still sounds at noon and 6 p.m. for the farmers to know it's time to stop for lunch or dinner.
I would be personally devastated if it was torn down.
Kathleen is leading a mission to save the tower,
Someone bought a button.
assisted by her daughter Lauren.
We went to a craft fair and we sold like $20 worth of buttons to one person.
Together, they run an active Facebook page, make buttons and magnets.
I definitely think that it would have just been over if my mom wouldn't have stepped up and actually made a voice for the tower.
And work on getting the tower recognized by the Minnesota Historical Society. Repairs could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, money the small town of Osseo doesn't have.
One of the also big problems is that it's covered in lead-based paint.
So getting historical status means access to state and federal repair dollars.
What we're trying to ultimately do is try to save the water tower. It needs a lot of repairs, and they're very expensive repairs. But we're trying to save it as best we can using non-tax dollars from the city.
That strikes a chord with Osseo.
Because Osseo is a town of a lot of retired people, and we're not going to be able to keep the upkeep.
Many would like to keep the landmark.
It's been there my whole life, and I'd like to see it saved.
It's on the city's logo and banners.
It's what makes Osseo the town it is.
Is so important. It's an emotional icon, I think.
The effort to save the tower shows Osseo's small town charm comes not from the landmark,
Save the water tower.
but from the people who want to save it.
Osseo does have a certain identity, and I think the tower is a big part of that.
A report on the historical value of the water tower will be out in early spring. The city has high hopes it will obtain that status because Elk River's 94-year-old water tower received the status back in 2012.
Beer lovers rejoice. The Twin Cities are now home to a brand new $30 million destination brewery. Hundreds packed into the new Surly Brewing Company Friday at the border of Minneapolis and St. Paul. The 50,000 square foot building has 18 beers on tap and a full menu. It's been a long time coming for a business that began as an abrasive metals manufacturer in Brooklyn Center and was converted to a brewery by Golden Valley resident Omar Ansari.
That's how businesses are built. I mean, they start with the dream and you build it.
After all, this is America.
Well, next up for the brewery will be a high-end restaurant. They plan to open that on the site in the late spring.
The Northwest Metro will soon open a few new facilities of its own. Construction is nearly complete on this new gymnasium next to Maple Grove Junior High School. The Osseo Maple Grove Basketball Association is the driving force behind the $8 million gym. The organization received a $100,000 Hennepin County Youth Sports Grant to help fund it. The complex will feature 3 tournament courts and more than 50 hoops for boys and girls in grades 1 through 12.
Well, we're very appreciative of the $100,000 grant we received from Hennepin County. It was part of the youth sports thing and the Twin Stadium tax. It's really going to knock a year of payments off that the Basketball Association has to pay back the city of Maple Grove.
Other county grant recipients include the Zane Sports Park in Brooklyn Park, Bassett Creek Park in Crystal, and the Sandberg Learning Center in Golden Valley.
In our week in review, affordable housing advocates celebrated the groundbreaking of a new apartment project in Robbinsdale. The 36-unit Clare Terrace project will provide housing for people living with HIV and AIDS. Construction is expected to start next month on the building located at 36th and France Avenues. In Minnesota, there are more than 7,500 people living with HIV or AIDS. Half of these people fight homelessness. In Maple Grove, a plan to add a hotel, office space, and more retail to the Arbor Lake shopping area has been canceled. The Opus Group withdrew its development proposal known as The Point at Arbor Lakes. The developer received pushback from the city over its plans to build large office buildings and 85,000 square feet of retail space at the northeast quadrant of Hemlock and Elm Creek Boulevard. The city has been hoping for high-density housing for that site. And in Plymouth, new Hennepin County 911 Dispatch Center is now up and running. The new emergency communications facility replaces the one in Golden Valley. The new dispatch area is more than double in size, and the biggest change is yet to come. By next summer, the new dispatch center will be able to receive 911 communications via text. Well, have you ever lost something you just can't replace?
The staff at a Maple Grove golf course found a wedding ring, and they want to help find the owner.
It's a wedding band with an engraving in it.
The wedding band was found at Rush Creek Golf Club in Maple Grove on Sunday, October 19th. The staff has taken to social media to get the word out, but 2 months later, no one has claimed the wedding band. A guest found the ring on the floor of the clubhouse, and they turned it over to the staff bartender. The ring has initials graved on it and a wedding date from 1957. Amy Michelson, the catering coordinator, has made it her mission, along with other staff, to find the ring's owner.
I like happy endings, fun stories. It's, you know, it's not embellished with diamonds or worth thousands of dollars, I'm sure, but it means something to someone's heart. So we just want to get it back to the right person.
And if you know who the ring belongs to, you can call Rush Creek Golf Club at the number on your screen at 763-494-0400. Coming up on 12 News Weekend, Brooklyn Park firefighters also have a story of someone who is irreplaceable. That's next.
Then later in sports, a new coach has the Wayzata boys basketball team off to a fast start.
But first, you could call this next string of days downright balmy. Highs are expected to be in the 30s up until Christmas Day. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Well, here's proof the spirit of giving is alive and well among the younger generation.
At Champlin Park High School, seniors Brittany Zavala and Selu Diallo joined their business classmates to help students in need. First, they held a food drive and collected more than 3,000 items for the school's food shelf. Then they collected $3,300 school-wide to buy and wrap presents for families at the high school. For the students, it's an eye-opener to see the need in their own school.
When I found out when we were delivering the present, it's like literally right across the room, and like usually what we imagine is someone in downtown sitting in the street hoping to get a present with their families and whatnot, but it's literally like the same person who you're getting help from in math class.
The Food and Money Drive is an annual tradition for the business class at Champlin Park. A Brooklyn Park firefighter is also making history.
Laura Wingy is the first female firefighter to serve 15 years in the department. She'll retire at the end of the month. Reporter Sonia Goins has more on her legacy.
One day I drove by the sign out front, big arrow saying firefighters wanted, and at that time I thought, I'd like to do that.
For 15 years, Laura Wingy has put her life on the line.
The diversity in Brooklyn Park makes it all the funner. I mean, you walk into homes for a medical and never know what you're going to get, and that's the fun part.
The longtime Brooklyn Park resident says she's seen a lot of changes since when she first joined the department.
When I started, I was reading a map, and now I have an iPad in that truck.
Laura served in the Army before becoming a firefighter in 1999.
I had a lot of leadership before I even started this job.
She says being a female firefighter can be physically challenging.
Especially being a woman, you might not have the upper strength, but you learn to work on it.
Never had a doubt whether she could do the job or not.
Her fellow firefighters say they'll miss her strong work ethic and her funny personality.
I think Laura's unique ability is that she uses a lot of humor. She's always got a smile on her face.
Early this month, the department honored Laura.
She is historically was the first female to make 15 years on our department. It was quite the accomplishment.
Here, looking at the 15-year Brooklyn Park Fire Department ring.
Laura says she'll enjoy her weekends off when she retires, but once a firefighter, always a firefighter.
Somewhere in the back of my brain, I'll listen for the sirens running around Brooklyn Park as I am a resident.
In Brooklyn Park, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Laura is one of 4 female Brooklyn Park firefighters. Her last day on the job is December 28th. Well, an 11-year-old's unique connection with a cop that came by writing a letter.
But first in sports, the Hopkins boys hockey team is piling up the wins this season. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox.
Perennial classic.
Welcome back. Jay Wilcox joins us now at sports, and sounds like a season of new beginnings for Wayzata High School.
That's right. Their basketball program, a new coach, and they like the way things are going so far here. For the second straight season, the Wayzata boys basketball program does have a new head coach, and it is so far so good for the Trojans. After 5 years as Rosemount's head coach, Brian Schnettler hit the ground running at Wayzata.
It's been great. We got a great group of kids. They work extremely hard. We're young. We got a lot of sophomores and juniors playing for us, but they've been a heck of a lot of fun to be around every day.
Actually, this is like my 3rd coach in 3 years, so I've been kind of used to new coaches and everything. So when Coach Schnettler came in with his coaching staff, and it wasn't like a huge change for me because it happened the year before, but he came in and he was ready to go, and I think he's been doing a great job so far.
A team with exactly 0 seniors enters Tuesday night with a 4-1 record, with the one loss a 2-point game to longtime nemesis Hopkins. Close games have been the order of the day. They have 2 2-point victories and a 1-point win. After posting an 8-18 mark last winter, including 0-8 in late conference play, it's a little surprising the Trojans are doing this well.
I would say at the start of the season, before tryouts, I may have been surprised, but after tryouts and after everything's kind of came in the line, I'm not really surprised that we're 4-1.
Bucking the current trend of 3 and 4 guard attacks, the Trojans have good size and utilize their post players a lot.
It is fun because practice we get at it. We split up into post and point guards, and it's nice having other bigs to go against and get better.
We try and play a little differently than a lot of teams do now. We try and put it in the post a little bit, and we got guys that are being successful with it. We got a lot to work on still, but they're having a lot of fun, and I think our style of play is a little different, which kind of makes us unique. So
now that they have tasted some success, the Trojans have some definite goals in mind.
I would say our 3 goals are to make it to state, beat Hopkins, and be over 500 in the lake.
Not easy goals, but not out of the question for Wayzata. The Trojans play at St. Michael Albertville Monday night, then get set for holiday tournament play the 29th through 31st at Augsburg College. In girls basketball, Osseo played at Champlin Park. Kiara Russell has a huge game for Osseo. She drives into the lane and scores 2 early for the Orioles. A few minutes later, she beats her defender to the basket on the drive. Russell scores the Orioles' first 11 points of the night. But Osseo has a hard time stopping 6'3" junior Hannah Crimble. She grabs the offensive rebound and scores. That one ties the game up at 14-all. Former Osseo player and now Champlin Park forward Katera Etheridge scores in the lane here. The Rebels trail the Orioles by 1 at halftime. To second half action, and Crimble knocks down the baseline shot on her way to a 26-point game for the Rebels. Allison Garrett comes off a baseline screen and pops open for a short jumper. She nets 13 in the game. Down by 4, Osseo's Ariana Jones drains a big 3-pointer from the left side to get Osseo within 1. And in a tight game down the stretch, it's Russell who comes up with a huge play. She gets a steal and layup on her way to a 31-point night. Osseo beats Champlin Park 60-57. Well, the Hopkins boys hockey team has struggled some in recent years, but the Orioles are off to a very strong start this season. Jason Melillo has more.
The Royals are having a lot of fun so far this winter. They've won 7 of their first 8 games and the last 5 in a row, including an overtime win against perennial Class A power Hermantown.
There's definitely a buzz. You know, kids are starting to realize that we're the real deal this year, and I mean, it's fun. So hopefully we can keep it up and get some more fans here.
Keeping the goals against low has been a big key for Hopkins. The Royals have a solid defense, and senior goalie Josh Kumitchell has been dialed in.
A good goaltender is always contributes to the team. If they know that they have a goalie that will stop the pucks behind them, they get a little more confident.
I think with Cooch, we got one of the best goalies in the state. And then our core of defensemen, they are doing unbelievable. I mean, they're getting a lot of our points. They're working on the blue line. So when it comes, yeah, you got to start from the back and move forward.
Hopkins hasn't had a winning record since the 2008-2009 season when current Gopher Travis Boyd racked up 50 points as a Royals freshman. But this year's group is gaining confidence with every win, and getting out of the gate quick is allowing the kids to play loose and have fun.
Confidence is key in hockey. I mean, once we won a couple games, we really got our feet under us and our confidence was high. We play at a way higher level when we feel like we can win.
The cruel irony for the Royals is how hard the schedule gets in mid-January when they start playing their late conference games. Right now, Edina, Wayzata, and Eden Prairie are all ranked in the top 10, so Hopkins is aiming to be playing its best hockey when the conference games start. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
Hopkins added a win over Spring Lake Park Thursday. They'll play Orono to start the Schwann Cup tournament on December 29th. So it's kind of known as a basketball school, but hockey team's good too.
They just needed that boost of confidence, a few wins under the belt.
That's right.
Thanks, Jay. Up next, an interesting head start to a possible career.
What an Knoxville Elementary 5th grader did to learn about law enforcement. We'll be right back. Given the recent national headlines from Ferguson, Missouri to New York, it hasn't necessarily been an easy time to be a police officer.
That's one of the reasons this next story out of Brooklyn Park caught our attention. Here's Alexandra Renslow.
Good. What are you guys doing?
For Brooklyn Park Detective Steve Nelson.
You ready for Christmas break? Holiday break?
Oh,
awesome.
Yeah. Being a school liaison officer is all about making connections.
Hi, guys. How are you? Good. Have a good day.
So when 11-year-old Joshua Addo decided to write to the Brooklyn Park Police Department for a school project on writing business letters,
I am writing to you because I think I have what it takes to be a police officer.
it was Joshua's letter expressing interest in the job.
I want to make sure I can work hard, saving people's lives and making our neighborhood state a safe place to be in.
That caught the attention of Detective Nelson. He felt a connection, even though the two had never met.
Me growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer. My father was a police officer, so I always had that connection. And it's nice to share that connection with someone else and break those barriers down.
Detective Nelson answered Joshua's letter.
Thank you for writing to us at the Brooklyn Park Police Department with your questions and wanting to be a police officer.
And he hand-delivered it to Joshua in class, taking time to talk with students, too, about what it takes to be a cop. And his read on Joshua?
Just a great young man, doing great in school, has a great personality, and I think he's got what it takes to be a police officer.
The two are now forming a bond.
In about 10 more years, you could be part of our police department.
It could be the early tracks to a career, all thanks to a connection.
Great story, and that's all the time we have. We'll see you Monday.